The following is the extract of a course linked in the description.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining me in this new video. This is Krishna again. In the last video, we looked at how you could go ahead and do some mastering on your tracks with just the plugins that come with FS Studio. So, what I'm going to show you now are some of the plugins that I have that are um, dedicated for mastering, right? Um, so I'm just gonna go for them. I have loaded them here in no particular order, but at the end I'm gonna tell you which one I've been using lately. So yeah, let's get into it. The first one over here, and I'm gonna provide actually the links to those, and I actually loaded them here. Actually, let me go through the website first. So we have the TR5 one over here, the TRX one that comes again in the bundle, the TRX 5 Max. It is a little bit pricey, but I would recommend if you can go ahead and buy it, but if you're a little bit strapped on cash, wait usually towards the end of the year, when we talk about Black Friday and all that. Sometimes they're gonna have some deals that will be the probably one of the best time to get them. They will usually be really discounted, and I like this bundle over here just because it just cover everything, all the needs that you would need as far as mixing and mastering. It's very great, and they have some other option as well, some other plugins as well, some other packs that they have there that they offer that are pretty good. But this one, I think, just covers pretty much everything. So the TRX five, the TRX one over here, this one we're gonna have a look at it. Is the one that would be recommended for mastering, and I'm you see over here mastering processor, and I'm gonna be going over it really quickly. We have another one over here from initial audio, right? And that is the master suite again, mastering plugin. That one is 49. The other one over here, if you want to buy it, actually maybe if that's the only one that you need, 99, it's not too bad, right? But this one as well, I think it's a great option, and we're gonna take a look at it. You have actually, this one is actually pretty good. The BX Master Desk Classic is actually free, right? So this one is a great option over here, right? You don't really miss anything. You don't really lose anything over here, especially with this free cost. So this one I have it, and as well I have his big brother, if you can say. It does offer just a little bit more option. It's at 149. Okay. We also have the Ozone 9 that actually helps you as well master, um, and we're gonna have a look at it. And over here, I'm actually gonna talk about actually, let me talk about it. So some of those plugins, like I mentioned, the best way maybe to get them would be probably toward the end of the year. With Plugin Boutique, if you do subscribe for their newsletter, or you go ahead and you buy just one of those plugins, they're gonna automatically add you in their newsletter. And when they have deals, pretty much every week, they do send you an email to let you know what are the deals, right? So depending, some companies are gonna have some random deals like in March or April or in the summer, depending on when they want to run those sales. And Plugin Boutique is gonna let you know about it. So what I usually do, I just look through the list there. If there is something that kind of catch my eye, I'm gonna go ahead and purchase it, right? If the price is right, and if it's something that I think that will add um, to my game, to my project, to what I'm doing, then I'm gonna go ahead and purchase it. The great thing as well with a lot of those plugins, you're able to download a demo, right? So I will usually try and see if the demo works really well, if there is really a big change, and most of the time I'm gonna try to compare as well if there is if I already have a plugin that could do that, right? So maybe it could. I already have a plugin that could do it, but this new plugin that I'm trying to download, that I'm trying to install, um, does it a little bit more faster, or I like the interface, I like the workflow, I like the approach. You also have free plugins. Maybe if you look for, I think the only free plugins that I have mentioned is this one over here. I'm pretty sure that you have a lot of plugins that could be free out there that could allow you to do that. Usually I don't mess too much with free plugins. I have a few that I use, but usually if I use them, it's because they, a lot of people recommend them. They highly regarded. Most of the time, I mean, I've used a couple free plugins where it seems like the architecture of the plugin wasn't really that great, and usually the interfaces I don't really like, or the resources you just use so much resources, and I'm like, I prefer just to pay for my plugin, especially if it's something that is a lot of people talk about it, it's highly recommended, or I just like the approach, the workflow. I'm just gonna go ahead and buy it. So let's come up here. Let's jump in here. Let's look at the TR51. So this one I actually like the sound that comes out of it. But sometimes I find myself, I mean, it really depends. The other thing that could be a little bit confusing with this one, at first I wasn't really messing with that one just because, again, there is a lot of bit too many buttons here for me. But the other thing is just the way it's labeling those buttons over here. It's a little bit at the beginning it was a little bit hard to try to understand what those buttons were doing. But the more you go through them and just trying to use them here and there, you're gonna start to notice the way it works. So over here, it tends to I think so. I would say those section and this section over here. Although over here it works a little bit more on the bass, but basically they're just trying to boost a little bit more of trebles, a little bit more of the body. Or I mean, you see body over here, but I think this is more of the kick, right? But maybe it calls it body. If you say body to me, I think about the middle, right? But over here it calls the middle focus, right? So that's where I find it a little bit confusing those names. The width here, I would say it acts a little bit more as stereo separation, and over here is just how loud you want to push it, and a little bit of the compression. Both of them kind of works in tandem over here. You need to be a little bit mindful of that. So this is the T-Rex one. So yeah, I'm gonna have the link for it if you want to have a look at it. If you want to maybe go ahead and download a demo and just play around with those, that will really be the best way to get to know those plugins, right? So yeah, so let's jump in here. This one I actually was using for quite a bit of time. I like this because I tend to find that the way they approach it is very simple. Over here, it lets you know, and this is something I'm going to talk a little bit more into another video really quickly. The level the level that is being outputted as far as loudness of the project, you're going to see here. And if it is, so let me say, let me just put the other one just like this, and let's see if I can do it really quickly. Just put a snare here. Let's play this. So you see the level here, and when you push it, it's gonna be here. And depending on how loud you're pushing it, sometimes now it's like you're at the right level, or if you over pushing it, it's gonna be either orange or red, just to say that you just went way over the level that is there. So that was something that I really liked there, and you just push it here, the ceiling where you want it. If you wanna cap it at a certain point, it has over here 0.10 decibels. Over here, if you want to put a little bit of compression, if you want to add a last minute EQ, right? Like I was showing you in the other video. Sometimes people they're gonna have actually a plugin. They're gonna have a VST, an equalizer here at the very beginning to for an extra EQ. But most of the time, I find a lot of producers actually don't do it unless you really a mastering engineer and you have something to cut or something to add, then you're gonna go ahead and do that. But from what I've seen, a lot of people don't actually add that last minute. I mean, I would say the producer maybe that do like hip hop, that kind of thing, that are just kind of self-taught, they don't usually add that. Really depends, but rarely I've seen that. The stereo image here as well, if you remember with Maximus, there was a button where we could say, if I let me just pull up Maximus here really quickly. I'm talking about this button that we have here, this one over here. So that was the one when we turn it over here. It was saying that um, it was mono a little bit. So you see over here 100% merge if you're looking at it, right? And if we turn it over here, it's a little bit more separated. So that's a little bit more of that stereo separation that we have there. So when I come back here, this is what we have over here, the stereo image. But what this master suite is doing is, because you don't want to have the kick, everything that's a little bit toward the low end, to be too much stereo, right? It needs to feel like it is mono. So this is where sorry, this is where you can say, you know what, up to this frequency over here, I don't want that stereo separation to be applied. So this is what this button over here is doing. But like you're gonna see, a lot of the you're gonna see it's gonna be a repeat, even though the way they approach it is a little bit different. But over here, this plugin is a good one to take as an example. You're gonna have something that is pushing the sound. So with that button, you're gonna have something that is applying a little bit of last minute compression, last minute EQ, and something that does the stereo image over here. This is what we usually have, right? And you're gonna notice that with some of the other ones, even though it could be a little bit different. So over here we're gonna go with the BX Master Desk Classic. This one as well, what you're gonna find is, so over here really quickly you can see we have the stereo enhance, right? And this one is gonna make it a little bit more stereo, more stereo separated. We have the volume to push it. We can trim it, so the output trim is about the same that you're gonna see for this one of the ceiling over here. Something that's a little bit more similar. The foundation and the tone, those I haven't really used them too much. I think I can't remember because I haven't used this plugin for a while, so I can't remember right now. But I would say it's more about just making sure, um, either it's applying compression or it's making sure that the kick over here is not too much, being we don't apply too much of the stereo compressor, stereo enhancer over here, right? So this is a great plugin if you would just want to check sorry, if you want to check it out. It's something that I recommend. And we have the big brother that is over here. This one has a little bit more button, but I just find to like it. So you're gonna find see over here, it is a little bit similar to what we just saw. Over here it allows you, but we have a few more that have been added over here, where we have the resonance filter, so you can listen actually to some of the sounds that are coming off out of this frequency over here. So if you want to maybe, I think you need to, you either focusing on it or cutting it. I can't remember. I don't use this one too much because I don't really have a need for it. But I know sometimes I'm gonna go over here and just listen to what is the sound coming out of those frequencies. Over here, so the tone is basically over here they call it tone, but you can see clearly it's just an equalizer that we have here. And over here we have the something that is similar to the initial master suite over here, where we say, you know what, up to this point we don't want the stereo to be applied, we want it to be mono, and over here we have the stereo. This is basically what we have over here, right? This is basically what we have over here. So it's very similar. Some of those things are gonna repeat there, where we have compression, EQ, something to boost the volume, right? And over here where we can make sure that we have some stereo being applied. So this is what we have. This one over here, what's going on? Okay. Is it is it bugging? I think it's because I have installed it to because I'm using another profile on my computer, so maybe it's not it doesn't uh, see that it is registered. But this one is a little bit original. You're gonna have over here a suite of plugins, right, that you can use. He also has a maximizer, he has an EQ, he has a compressor. You could use them one by one, or you could come up here and actually use the master assistant. And the thing with the master assistant is you just select some options over here and it's gonna listen to the sound that is coming or out of your project that is being routed to the master, and it's gonna select the right option that it thinks is that it needs to apply for mastering. I used it a couple times. I think it's okay. I'm really not a big fan. And the thing with that is not, that when you when it's gonna finish, it's gonna give you some preset. You just leave it as it is. You need to go ahead and kind of modify it based on your product. So it used some algorithm, right? So maybe they loaded some type of preset there that it needs to go through and make sure to apply, but you need to go after it has presented you with some options. You need to re-listen to your project and just adjust where you need be. So this is an option that is there. I find though that this plugin can be a little bit pricey. I can't remember the price of it, but as well as the other thing as well that I just found was when everything was loaded, it was just using a little bit too much resource for what I wanted. But it could be an option there, especially because it comes with so many other plugin option over here. If you like the way they approach it, it could be a great option. Okay. So that is pretty much those plugins over here. So the one that I'm using at the moment, um, I mean by recommendation, if you have this one, I really like the what is doing this? The BX. Sorry, let me see if I can. Uh, Here we go. It's just bugging. Can I delete it from here? Let me just delete that. Here we go. So the one that I would recommend, the one I'm using, especially this free option over here is great. But this is the one that I'm using right now, right? And we're gonna use it. So we're gonna go in one of the feature song, the feature video that we're gonna see. We're gonna have. I'm gonna be using that, and you're gonna see how I use it. The next one is actually this one. I actually like the sound that comes out of this. I was using this for quite a while. I was really satisfied with the result, but even though sometimes it was a little bit of a hit and miss, mostly because I think at some point I would just apply a little bit too much of it or some of those options here, and it's usually you're gonna listen, you're gonna find that you have added a little bit more, or maybe it is the way that I'm mastering. I find that I'm adding a little bit too much, trebles, right? So this is where I was like, I don't have too much guidance with using this plugin here, and I switched to this one. I think this one makes it that I don't have to mess a lot with so many buttons. Yeah, I just know the buttons that I need to go to, right? But I actually like the sound that comes out of this one. It's really great. And the other one that I would probably recommend, especially if you're really on the budget, you want to spend a little bit more, you want something that is easy, I will go with this one. But this one, I really like the layout. I like the way it is easy to use. I was using that as well for quite a while, but I found it's a little bit too sweet on the treble, and not enough body on the low end, right? I think it's kicking, but it's not kicking as I want to, or as the TR5 over here, or the BX Master Desk. I found that it's not really there, right? So those are the ones I would recommend. If you can, I'm gonna have the link. You don't need to purchase them. Again, we have Maximus here, and I showed you how you can just use Maximus. If you that's the what you have, then that's what you need to use. The last thing I just want to talk about is, most of the time what I'm going to do as well after using a mastering plugin here, I'm going to have an additional limiter at the end of the chain, because usually what happens is, you know what, I'm going to discuss that when we're going to actually I'm going to discuss that when I'm going to talk about the some of the plugins that allow you to track your loudness, uh, and the different metrics that you're able to see, the volume. I'm going to discuss a little bit more there. I think it's going to make a little bit more sense. So let's leave it here. Those are the plugins that I'm using for mastering, especially this one. Lately it changes depending on depending on where I am and how I feel. So those are the plugins. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'm gonna have the links for them in the description. Guys, if you enjoy the content, share, like, and subscribe to the channel. I also wanted to let you know about my free mastering mini course that's gonna be available there in the description. You're also gonna get with that free banger drums kit, right, with some crazy samples. Basically, you're gonna be able to make some crazy drum patterns. Okay, so the link is gonna be in the description. It's gonna let you know how you're gonna have access to it, and I will talk to you in another video.